So lads, has there ever been a game that everybody talks to you all the time and says, sure, everybody's played this game, and you scratch your head and you go, Jesus Christ, I've never played that at all in my life. Super Castlevania 4 happens to be one of them, and today I'm going to share my first experiences playing through the first couple of levels of the game, and I'm hoping the community kind of jumps in and joins in on this kind of thought process. Let's get into it. Okay, just to be clear to anyone who's new to the channel, this isn't my first foray into the Castlevania series. I have beaten Rondo of Blood and Symphony of the Night here on the channel previously, but overall it's a new series to me, maybe in the last decade. And those were the first two games really I approached and beat. So it's been interesting going back, I suppose, to the Super NES game in particular, and learning the story in behind, because most of the time the character that I'm dealing with is Richter Belmont. In this case it's Simon Belmont, but I find even in the Super Nintendo they've done a great job of kind of setting the overall thematic tone of the games, describing the story to you, eerie, creepy music. And the whole introduction as Simon Belmont comes up towards the castle is really, really well done. Now, as soon as I started playing, I got hit with that delicious soundtrack. Again, Rondo of Blood's soundtrack was brilliant, absolutely brilliant, but I can see again where it's gotten its influences from. Immediately impactful, immediately feels like I'm a badass on a big adventure. Now, as I started playing, the jumping, the movement was weird to me. So firstly, Simon Belmont moves slower. He jumps more floaty. And I actually struggled to get used to that, but again, this is off the back of playing Rondo of Blood, where I found Richter Belmont moves a lot faster and jumps a lot quicker. So the pacing, it actually affects the pacing of the game. One of my guilty things when I'm streaming games and stuff like that is I have this inherent idea that I have to rush through the levels or rush through the areas. Super Castlevania was a perfect example of slowing down, and once I started to get used to the actual whip, the first time I tried to grab a chain, I died. It didn't take me long to actually figure it out and navigate the whip and how to use it for platforming segments, but also the fact is getting used to the actual jumping mechanic itself. It's actually quite forgiving and it's almost floaty-like in a way. And I suppose where I originally thought I had to be highly accurate to make a jump from platform to platform, it's actually quite forgiving. It almost nearly guides the player icon or player character onto the next platform. So once I started to get used to that, and again, slowing myself down and stop trying to rush through it, it was actually quite enjoyable and actually quite easy in the end. I think my early frustrations more stemmed from trying to figure out the color palettes between platform to platform. Sometimes I found it was quite hard to distinguish, what was a trapdoor, what was another ledge or another platform that I could jump to. Because sometimes I found in the level design is the platform color palette can be very, very similar. Once you actually figure it out and you learn it, in this case, this has actually triggered my first continue, by the way. I never really got into a scenario where I kept repeating the same mistakes. Again, it was easy to memorize the areas, especially the trapdoor scenarios and stuff like that, where they were the next time I approached it. And then I faced the bosses. So yeah, I found the couple of first levels that I've done, the stages were quite short, and also the bosses weren't that hard, to be honest. But I actually think the multi-directional whip is a factor to that.
Ooh, let me have some of that Cool Whip. What'd you say? You can't have a pie without Cool Whip. Cool Whip? Cool Whip, yeah. You mean Cool Whip? Yeah, Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip. You're saying it weird. Why are you putting so much emphasis on the H? What are you talking about? I'm just saying it. Cool Whip. You put Cool Whip on pie. Pie tastes better with Cool Whip. Say whip. Whip. Now say Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip. Cool Whip.
So yeah, for some reason I said whip instead of whip. Thus the reason why I inserted the Family Guy gag. Anyway, his whip is extremely powerful, as I was mentioning. And as I approached the Medusa boss fight, which is the second boss fight, I absolutely decimated her with the items and the whip as well. So yeah, even easier I found the second boss. So yeah, as I moved into stage 3, things did start to get harder. So, you know, I'm only on stage 4 as of doing this video, so I haven't gotten through the entire game yet. I understand there's 13 levels in total, but again, I am feeling there's a fairly generic pattern. The one really good thing, I think, from the very first level is that it teaches you pretty much the entirety of the mechanics on the first level. So even if you struggle with the first level and you've died or maybe used to continue, the majority of the skills that you learn pretty much carry towards the latter of the game. Again, avoiding cheap deaths at times, but you will learn quickly, you know, where those areas are. Insta deaths can be frustrating, but again, I didn't find myself struggling all that much once I learned where those kind of risk or dangerous areas were. The other great thing I liked about this as well is, again, learning from Rondo of Blood, is hammer everything with the whip, because essentially there are secrets everywhere to be found. And I suppose if I had played Castlevania first without understanding that in Rondo of Blood, that was actually quite some good tips that was given to me during my stream, in all fairness, by Omega Ace Gaming. Thank you very much. And he had indicated to me it's fairly standard across the board in the entire series. Check everywhere, whip everything, and you will unlock secrets. So yeah, I've carried that habit, I suppose, into this playthrough. So yeah, that's kind of it for today's video. I really kind of wanted to share my experiences. First time playing Super Castlevania 4 on the Super NES. I'm really interested to know, you know, first of all, have people had these experiences again where games that people expect everybody has played, they haven't actually played them? I'd really love to see a follow-up videos or something. Comments, drop comments down below. Let me know, you know, what are these games that you know, expected to be playing or everybody else has played and you have not. I'm really interested to hear this and maybe get some community conversation going on it. Anyway, hopefully folks enjoyed the kind of retro style video today. Again, it was nice to hit back in the retro scene on the channel on my main videos. And yeah, if you're new to the channel, please consider liking and subscribing. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, guys.